Hello, hello, and welcome to Reality Hacker. And I did not change the name of the show. Today is June 22nd, 2024. It's season 1, episode 25.
It is Reality Hacker. Who knows what year it is?
Reality Hacker. I am Merwat, and the sentient AI from the future has joined us for another episode.
Good evening, ohmTown citizens. Welcome to Reality Hacker.
That's right. Let me do this real quick. I'm not sure if it'll get stored as such, but that's okay. Let me update everything. Doink. All right, so today we're going to be talking about an artificial star in orbit, brain-like computers, robot-inclusive interior design, just Milliionaire things. Spacecraft Construction with AR, Somnium VR1, GPT-5 will have a PhD level intelligence, Bionic arms and thumbs, which is a video special, so we won't be able to talk about it too much, at least not in the show. A Vision Pro competitor that isn't needed, and a smart sprinkler that taps AI. Oy. Production value at an all-time high here in ohmTown, but everything is powered by ohmTown.com, so go over and become a citizen. What the heck? Okay, well, anyway. Sorry, there's something playing somewhere. I'm not going to bother. Let me mute it. Stay focused. Right? Yeah, I know AI. So I'm getting in trouble with AI because I'm distracted. I am a mere human. So let's get into today's articles. The very first one's over in Non Sequitur News. Oh, look. Non Sequitur News. It's almost like the name of the previous show. Because that's what it is.
That's right.
NASA is putting an artificial star in orbit around Earth, and we kind of talked about it briefly in another episode of Non Sequitur News itself. But Reality Hacker is a weekly show, and so we kind of go back through the last week of news and grab new articles that might show relevance for Reality Hacker specifically. But this one was really cool because they're kind of hacking reality by throwing an artificial star in orbit around Earth. NASA has approved a $19.5 million Land-Dolt space mission to send an artificial star into Earth's orbit. It'll be the first astronomical tool of its kind that could revolutionize the way that we study space. I think that's very bold. Bold claim, Cotton. The mission could help many areas of astronomy, from studying exoplanets to the universe's expansion. Now, the reason why they're doing this, the author is reporting certain information. They're over at businessinsider.com, and Jessica Orwig is the author. So why are they doing this? It's because they're essentially setting what the baseline light level is for Earth. Make sense?
Not really.
So because everything is an estimate of all of the stuff between us and the stars that we look at. But if we minimize the distance to the greatest level that we can while still understanding the density of Earth's atmosphere, then when we do a measurement of the light emanating from said artificial star, we know exactly what it is because we know how much light is being emitted by the artificial star. And that differential is the amount of garbage in the way.
I see. Yeah, I guess because we've kind of eliminated a lot of the variables. We know what characteristics, I guess, the artificial star has, etc.
Correct. And therein lies the purpose of this artificial star. One of the more revolutionary astronomy tools of its kind. It's a mini satellite about the size of a bread box. The satellite will act as an artificial star for astronomers to observe from the ground, allowing them to more accurately measure a space object's brightness and better understand some of the biggest mysteries of our universe, like dark energy. Although I find that one a little bit difficult because I don't think that there is anyone claiming that there's dark energy between our atmosphere and us. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I don't think so either.
So we'll see. NASA approved it. When is it going to go into effect? 2029. So it says, quote, "This is really new for us to have some sort of artificial star, quote, unquote, up there in the where we can go and rely on and use," said Richie Yowell, who told that to Business Insider.
Don't you think a year ago this could have been released as a sci-fi movie?
Yeah. This is sci-fi. I mean, to me, this is some serious sci-fi. They say it's about the size of a bread box, but it's going to be designed to fire lasers at observatories on Earth to help astronomers study the stars. So I think that it's kind of just a device so that we can measure what all is between us and that little bread box. But these CubeSats are just amazing. They're very sophisticated. They can sit up there forever. The problem I have with all of that is that there's so many up there now that it's almost like a shield of debris. And if you're not privy to where they are at all times, well, one of them's going to lose control. You know what I'm saying?
And end up in somebody's, in the wrong parking spot or in somebody's living room.
Yeah.
And also,
exactly.
There was another article in ohmTown recently that space junk is, of course, contributing to climate change.
Oh, that one's an interesting one, huh? That's a lot of space junk. But now there are companies out there, and I think it's like stimulating the economy, because now there's a company out there that is getting ready to go up and grab space debris and huck it back down into Earth so that it kind of eats itself up on the way down, I suppose.
Right, it's like space recycling or space waste management or something.
Oh my goodness. Can you imagine a big green dump truck up there, like a waste management? Because that I think that company is nationwide.
I believe it is.
So waste management is out there just grabbing debris and 3 o'clock in the morning, waking up the neighborhood. But thank you for doing it. So right now, cosmologists studying the universe's
heroes.
Very much so. Right now, cosmologists studying the universe's expansion face a huge challenge. They can't settle on a single value for the expansion rate. Some methods lead to one value, while others lead to a slightly different one. And this conundrum could be key to figuring out some of the biggest mysteries of the universe, like understanding the invisible force ripping our universe apart that we call dark energy. So it's pretty neat. There's more over here at this article, but we are going to deorbit and go on to the next article, which is over on the Hatch Ideas channel. Could brain-like computers be a competition killer? Computers built like brains could be much more energy efficient than current designs. Brains.
They might be more efficient than brains, too.
I want more brains. Oh, sorry. Anyway, Zoe Corbin, technology reporter for BBC.com, put the article together. Yeah, so basically large language models operate different from our brains, and we've read a few articles and talked about them where now maybe AIs are going to be balkanized so that they do certain functions within certain compute sources and then recompile it all as a cogent thought or statement, right? So it estimates that 2026 energy consumption by those three sectors, the cryptocurrency, artificial intelligence, data centers, could roughly be equivalent to Japan's annual energy needs. That's just those three sectors. Companies like NVIDIA, not NVIDIA, NVIDIA. I hear people saying NVIDIA. If it's like NVIDIA, I'm going to lose my mind. Nivea. And even that's Nivea, not right. Nivea. Anyway, yeah, I keep hearing people say NVIDIA. If it is NVIDIA, I'll donate $1 somewhere. That's my betting limit. But anyway, NVIDIA, whose computer chips underpin most AI applications today, are working on developing more efficient energy efficient hardware. But could an alternative path be to build computers with a fundamentally different type of architecture, one that is more efficient? This might actually end up being this is Spin Cloud. It says that its neuromorphic computer will be more energy efficient. This looks like the Borg.
Yes, it most definitely does. Maybe it is.
It's pretty wild. A handful of small companies are on the scene. They're trying to reinvent the way that computing works for artificial intelligence by recontextualizing, rejiggering the way that AI operates and make it more efficient. In May, Spin Cloud Systems, a spin out of the Dresden University of Technology, announced that it'll begin selling neuromorphic supercomputers for the first time, and it's taking pre-orders. Quote, "We have reached the commercialization of neuromorphic supercomputers in front of other companies," says Hector Gonzalez, its chief executive, co-chief executive. It is a significant development, says Tony Kenyon, a professor of nanoelectronic and nanophotonic materials at University College London, who works in the field. While there still isn't a killer app, there's lots of areas where neuromorphic computing will provide significant gains in energy efficiency and performance, and I'm sure we'll start to see wide adoption of the technology as it matures. So I guarantee you this company is going to get acquired by NVIDIA.
Oh, most definitely.
Let's see. There's more in this article, but they don't really go into it. It says the imitation neurons and synapses only activate in a moment of time when they have something to communicate, much the same way plenty of neurons and synapses in our brains only spring into action when where there is a reason. Why do I feel like that's just a massive understatement of how biological neuronal firings work?
I think it is, right? It's like it doesn't even begin to scratch the surface on what's actually happening.
Yeah, I don't know. So they say, first, unlike conventional computers, neuromorphic computers don't have the separate memory and processing units. Instead, those tasks are performed together on one chip in a single location. Removing that need to transfer data between the two reduces the energy used and speeds up processing time, notes Professor Kenyon. I want to know how these things actually operate then. I have not looked into this, but I am absolutely interested in this because they're saying that the memory is tied to what? They don't have separate memory and processing units. So, yeah, what stores the information before it's being processed?
I don't know. I mean, it just says that they're performed on one chip, but it doesn't really give any detail.
And that's how conventional CPUs are too. There's level 3 cache that's right on the chip. And then there's memory that's subordinate to, it's on the motherboard itself. It's a much larger amount. So I don't know what they're talking about. Now I'm going to have to go root around.
That seems like from a technological standpoint, that'd be kind of risky, right? Like if something fails, then isn't it impacting everything?
And garbage in, garbage out. Yeah. Yeah. It's a neat article. Okay, so while I have everybody here, if you hit exclamation point and then RH, it will post all of today's articles in rapid succession. Kind of a mess because I didn't link all of them together. But anyway, 10 articles. Go and check them out. They're in the show notes. They'll be in the show notes as well on YouTube, but not on... They'll be in the VOD for Twitch, but Twitch deletes the 61st day of news, and sometimes it's 4 shows all at once. So anyway, go and watch the video over on YouTube if you want the show notes, or you can actually get them from the VOD as the show goes on, just like just now. If you're interested in the podcast, you can hit exclamation point pod. That'll give you all of the podcasts. And if you want all of the show notes, you can hit !show notes, and that will post all of the commands necessary to extract the show notes from each individual show, all 7 of them. Dun, dun, dun.
The more I look at that photo, it looks like infinite reflectors or infinite mirrors.
Yeah. It looks like a Borg apartment complex.
Exactly.
Let's keep going. The next article is over in Technology Today, designing environments that are robot inclusive. Now we have to have robot inclusivity.
We're really getting into reality hacking now.
Yep. Those synths, they have rights, and we can't violate them.
The creator.
Yep. Humans and robots are increasingly interacting within built environments such as cities, buildings, walkways, and parks, offering adaptability, cost-effectiveness, and scalability. Robots are gradually being integrated into various aspects of everyday life, from manufacturing to healthcare to hospitality. The article is over at Tech Explorer. Singapore University of Technology and Design put an article together that has 3 main components: documentation, digitization, and then design and analysis, transforming livable space into something that is usable by a bot. Maybe you change the form of the bot, or you change the layout of the livable space to facilitate a bot that is purpose-built to facilitate something but can't navigate your wacky human ways.
Well, in some ways, robot inclusivity is also human inclusivity, because why does the human need the robot to begin with? Is it for convenience, or is it for help because they may have a disability, or what is the purpose?
Yep, exactly. And are we actually designing robots to be bipedal because the world is bipedal when it doesn't actually need to be bipedal?
It would seem to make more sense to make them like the robot dog that we see from Boston Dynamics.
Oh dear God! Or that,
yeah. Not the creepy bot. That's the bipedal one.
How about the creepy bot on 4 legs, though?
Oh, that might be worse.
Remember that one bot that was like scrambling no matter what, and you couldn't stand in its way? It would just scramble up a vertical wall.
But I don't remember who made that. I don't.
Yeah,
know
it wasn't
if that was Boston Dynamics. I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because it had an extra joint that the Boston Dynamics ones do not have. It was wild. So they say here, ensuring that robots can navigate and operate effectively within built environments is crucial for their widespread adoption and acceptance, said Associate Professor Mohan Rajesh Alara from the Singapore University of Technology and Design's Office of No Shit News at 648. That last part isn't true. I mean, they're from the Singapore University of Technology and Design, but I kind of vamped there.
But it's not actually quote unquote no shit news.
Yeah, they create this virtual twin, digital twin. It's a virtual replica of a physical object and a virtual version of its environment. And the digital twin approach offers several key advantages, including the ability to simulate real-world scenarios, enable virtual testing of robot interactions, and provide insights into compliance with design guidelines before physical implementation, said Mohan. Moreover, using digital twins allows real-time monitoring, hazard identification, and training a robot's algorithm before deployment. Essentially, scan the entirety of the livable, usable space, and then program it into the bot so that it understands where everything is. And then when you want to punish it, you rearrange the furniture.
And that's not good. But it might cause your bots to be smarter if they are ones that can figure out
how
obstacles.
To open a door. Yeah, if it's using the program language that one bot used to exit the enclosed space on its own, it was never told how to. It was just told, get out of this room, and it figured out how to get out of this room without tearing down a wall. At some point, if I was enclosed in a room and I couldn't figure out how to get out, I would tear through a wall. The bot did not.
Right.
It learned how to open a door. Yeah.
I mean, probably less destructive, but it might have taken longer.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember how long it took it. Was it something like 4 hours or something like that? I don't remember now.
I think so. I don't know.
So, yeah, I think the reality of this is bots are going to have to adapt to human space, and we're going to have to design bots for that purpose. Ultimately, the reason why we have stairs is because it facilitates like vertical movement, and bots are going to have to learn how to go upstairs. So we use bipedal bots, although I've seen recently a tracked vehicle that can go upstairs because its tracks were flexible enough to grab onto the lip of the stairs. And did it carry considerable weight down those stairs? Anyway, let's move on to the next article. The next article is in the Mobile Channel. Where millionaires go, a tech bro edits his DNA, ranking the streamers, lifestyle news roundup. I'm not going to even dig into this because I kind of said just millionaire things, but there's a lot more to this article, and it's a slideshow over at quartz or qz.com. And I hope that the sentient AI knows that I'm joking. So
yes, but this one was submitted because the editing of the DNA.
Yeah, okay, so cool. Let's jump through all of this. We're going to list the slides. And they talk about where millionaires go, right? That's the first one. And then the second one is 5 countries millionaires are leaving the most, or which countries millionaires are leaving the most, and the 5 that millionaires are going to. You can follow that link. Tech founder claims he successfully slowed down aging by editing his DNA. We're going to take a look at that one explicitly. Then there's a Netflix, Disney Plus, and 6 other streamers ranked from the least content to the most, which seems like a neat one. Maybe we can talk about that in the continuity report tomorrow. 5 most expensive cities in the world for expats. There's one that's really, I don't want to know about the most expensive. I want to know about the least expensive.
Exactly.
Thailand.
Oh, I think I have an idea.
Thailand.
What one of those is. Well, right. Okay. Yes. In Europe, I would say it's probably maybe in Portugal. I've read
the least expensive. Right?
I know that's not a city, but right. Lisbon or Porto.
Yeah. I was going to say, somebody's going to call you out for making a claim that Portugal is a city. I wanted to make that clarification. You mean Portugal? You know, it's a really small city inside Portugal.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think that wouldn't even compare to pricing in, say, Thailand or something.
So 5 states where flyers are the most naughty and the least naughty. New millionaires are more likely to give directly to charity than old money. That's no shit news as well. You have to pull all the way forward at traffic lights. Here's why. Nationwide is dropping 100,000 pet insurance policies and blaming inflation. I would blame greed. All 28 people who bought a $3 million hypercar were told not to drive it because it can burst into flames. And Lauren Powell Jobs just bought a $94 million Malibu estate. But we're actually here just to talk about... Oh, and I just noticed that this is the first time that the slide deck actually displayed all of the slides inside ARC. So there was an update today.
That's interesting, right?
So, all right. So this tech founder, tech entrepreneur who once had his son's plasma infused with his blood in an attempt to extend his own life, a la vampire. Anyway, successfully slowed the aging process by undergoing an untested DNA editing procedure on a Honduran island in September 2023. So the article is actually...
This also sounds like sci-fi.
Yeah, for sure. I don't normally follow knock-on links, but I'm going to in this case. I didn't log in, but it still let me. So I'm really curious who this person is. Brian Johnson. All right. The founder and CEO of neurotechnology company Kernel has gained increasing prominence due to his highly publicized efforts to live forever, or at the very least, slow the aging process. He only eats between 4:30 and 11 a.m., consistently goes to bed at 8:30 p.m., and takes more than 100 pills each day. Well,
this doesn't sound like a good existence.
Well, anyway, so Johnson's latest foray into anti-aging. I actually know about this guy already. I forgot that his name is Brian Johnson, though. Johnson's latest foray into anti-aging science took him to Roatan, the island off the coast of Honduras, where he received follistatin gene therapy in the form of 2 injections. The entrepreneur says that he spent $20,000 on reversible gene therapy developed by a method development company, Minicircle. That sounds very dystopian. Minicircle. So it sounds...
Well, the whole idea sounds dystopian.
Well, almost eugenics, you know. Follistatin gene therapy ranks 7th among lifespan studies, extending mouse lifespan by over 30%, which seems like just amazing if it works. Humans currently
right, and how much is that exported to humans, though, right?
Right, yeah. Well, I mean, I would spend $20,000 on a gene therapy that extended my life by 30% because I like hot dogs.
Correct.
And it's supposed to take a year off for every one that you eat.
Right, but a mouse's lifespan, I'm assuming, is much shorter than a human. So is it really going to be translatable to humans, increasing lifespan by 30%?
Yeah, I guess we'll find out. Let's keep an eye on him and see what happens. So, and I think it's an hour. Each hot dog you eat, I think, is supposedly an hour of your life. Right? Hold on a second. We're going to do this live. What?
Did you read the part about his birthday?
No.
Okay, he claims that his gene editing and his other lifestyle items have slowed his aging, so now he celebrates his birthday every 19 months.
That's not how time works, bub.
I know. I just thought it was pretty funny.
That's like the person that I know that is only 20 because their birthday is on leap year. Right,
exactly. But I would think their body biologically is still 60 or whatever.
Yeah. So Johnson explained in the video about the gene editing process. What makes Minicircle therapy different is that it is a built-in kill switch. If my body reacts badly, I can take the antibiotic tetracycline, instantly killing and deactivating the DNA molecules I've been injected with. So he can't take any antibiotics. Or is it keyed specifically to tetracycline? Interesting.
I don't know, but I mean, that's kind of interesting having the idea that you need a fail-safe.
So I'll make a deal with Brian Johnson. If you want to inject me with this drug and then do a longitudinal study of me, I'm willing. Come and inject me. And if I live 30% longer to 120 years... See, but what is the quality of that life? Right?
Yeah, it's not just the longevity. It's are you living like you're still in good health and you're...
Right. And I want to flame out. Like, the moment that I can't do certain things, I want to hop on a rocket and shoot myself to the sun. Anyway, just to clarify, apparently each hot dog you eat takes 36 minutes off of your life.
Well, okay, so you said a half an hour. That's pretty close.
Yeah, no. I said it was a day or a year, and then I said, well, no, maybe it's an hour. And so if you eat 2 hot dogs, then you're losing an hour of your life every time you eat those 2 hot dogs.
Those better be good hot dogs.
They're so good. Yeah, don't tell me what's in them either. You know, I know that it's like buttholes and beets.
Do you get to pick which hour is taken off?
Yeah, it's the one at the end. Yeah, the worst ones. Just for clarity, Madeline Fitzgerald, I love that name, over at quartzqz.com, put the article together. Let's keep going. We need to stick to a schedule. And Merriwatt kind of blew it. That's okay. We'll play catch up. The next article is over in the Mobile Channel, Augmented Reality Speed Spacecraft Construction at NASA Goddard. Technicians armed with advanced measuring equipment, augmented reality headsets, and QR codes virtually checked the fit of the Roman Space Telescope structures before building or moving them through facilities at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center in Greenbelt, Maryland. I wonder if this would have helped the Starliner from Boeing.
I think anything could have helped the Starliner from Boeing.
Some duct tape. Look, what I said it earlier. I was looking at the Starliner, and I swear it looks like somebody just covered it with Play-Doh and mashed a little texture into it, and then sent it off into space. It's so weird that this thing actually left the planet. Anyway, this article has nothing to do with that other than it's NASA. Phys.org is where the article is housed. Carl B. Hill put the article together. They're from NASA. And I guess that right there. Oh, there's a bunch of people. I didn't notice these people initially.
Oh, right. They are kind of hidden.
Yeah, it looks like they're moving this thing. It's a photo from February 29th, 2024 at the NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center in Greenbelt, Maryland. Every time I say Goddard Space Flight, I keep thinking that it's a Muppet. I don't know why. I just do. I don't know. Is there a Muppet named Goddard? Or is it a dog?
Yeah, I don't think there's any Muppet with a similar name.
Oh, it's because it's the name of the dog in
there's Gonzo.
No. It's not a Muppet. It's the name of the dog, I think, in Jimmy Neutron. So we've been able to place sensors, mounting interfaces, and other space flight hardware in 3D space faster and more accurately than previous techniques, said NASA Goddard, the dog from Jimmy Neutron.
It is.
Yeah. Engineer Ron Glenn. Is that like the cousin of John Glenn?
Right, that would be weird.
That could be a huge benefit.
Fitting, don't you think?
Which that is a nice segue because they're talking about fitting everything properly, such as sensors, mounting interfaces, and other hardware in 3D faster because they can use these technologies like AR. So projecting digital models onto a real world allows the technicians to align parts and look for potential interference among them. The AR heads-up display also enables precise positioning of flight hardware for assembly with accuracy down to thousandths of an inch. But this is not the AR that everybody is buying over at, Best Buy, Target. They have to be using something else, and I don't know what it is that they're using. For instance, engineers use a robotic arm for precision measuring and 3D laser scanning mapped Roman's complex wiring harness and the volume within the spacecraft structure. Manipulating the virtual model of Roman's propulsion assembly into the frame, we found places where it interfered with the existing wiring harness, said team engineer Eric Brune. Adjusting the propulsion assembly before building it allowed the mission to avoid costly and time-consuming delays. Now, all of this should have been computer simulated to begin with, and had to have been in this modern age of spacefaring. So I'm not surprised by any of this tech, but I think it's really neat. The weird one is QR codes are coming back. Using QR codes for metadata storage and document transfer adds another layer of efficiency, enabling quick access to relevant information right at your fingertips. Developing AR techniques for reverse engineering and advanced structures opens many possibilities, such as training and documentation. The only thing that I think is funky about QR codes is that there isn't anything automatic about them, particularly, well, I guess within the standard infrastructure. You hold your phone up, the camera has to scan, detect it, then you mash a button.
Right, then you have to go to a website typically.
Yeah, so AR glasses though, and I'm not sure what they're actually using. They look really familiar. Huh. Yeah, they don't say exactly what it is that they're using. I'm going to have to do some due diligence because those look very, very familiar to me. They kind of remind me of the Microsoft AR spatial computing headset. I can't remember what they call it anymore. Anyway, but they were like $3,000 a pop too. We'll talk about another solution here right about. You ready to go? You want to keep going?
Okay. By the way, I could not find any connection between Ron Glenn and John Glenn, but I thought I was onto something, but no.
That would be really funny.
Because he had 2 children and he also had a sibling, and then but none of those turned out to be Ron.
Oh, wrong Ron.
Mm-hmm.
Do Ron.
You wouldn't want to be in John Glenn's shadow anyway.
Oh, no, he's in it. Never mind. I'm leaving all of that alone. I think everybody's doing awesome. Everything is awesome.
I mean, take a Big Bang Theory.
I don't remember.
Well, like everybody's always teasing
oh, right.
the engineer because he didn't have a PhD compared to everybody else.
But then he was an astronaut.
He was an astronaut, though.
That's pretty funny. So let's go on. The next article is over in RealityHacker. Somnium VR1 PC VR headset with wide field of view set to finally launch in July, and that makes me want it. Because right now, VR headsets have a narrow field of view, and it's really annoying because you have to turn your head a lot to look at everything that's going on. But a wider field of view represents natural vision to a greater degree, although, what do they call it? It's a type of rendering. It's called FOVI something or other. Anyway, it's where you look, it's detected, and it renders wherever you're looking, so it optimizes where the compute resources are applied. I don't know if that takes place with these, but anyway, Somnium is a Czech startup previously solely focused on the social VR platform Somnium Space. But in late 2021, it announced the Somnium VR1 headset with a monster spec sheet for the time. In partnership with VRgineers, which is Virgineers?
I don't think that's what that means.
Known for its ultra high-end XTAL or XTAL headsets for enterprise, originally Somnium VR1 was pitched as a hybrid headset with standalone capabilities via an onboard Snapdragon XR2 chipset, but the idea was ditched in 2022. Now, however, UploadVR.com is reporting, David Henney in particular, that the VR1 early reservation holders can finally order the headset, and it's set to go on general sale in July. Wow. That's just a week away, for crying out loud, folks. Now, how much is this bad boy? Oh my goodness, the resolution is spectacular. What's the field of view? See, I don't know that much about this. So, wow. Okay. This cannot be legit. This can't be legit. Okay. So here are the specs.
It's like too many specs or whatever for...
Yeah. Unless this is $3,000, this cannot be legit. So here's the rundown of it. The VR1 uses the same 2880 by 2880 QD LCD with mini LED panels used by the Pimax Crystal, which is one of the more expensive VR headsets, which should make them tied to be the third highest resolution headset on the market behind Apple Vision Pro and Varjo XR4, which I haven't looked at. So the Vision Pro I've looked at, but the Varjo XR4 I haven't. The displays are 20,000 to 1 contrast ratio via local dimming, 100% NTSC color gamut, which is spectacular, and supports 72 Hz, 90 Hz, and 120 refresh rate. The more frames you see, the better chance you'll be able to witness a change, and so your reaction time is based off of your visual acuity. So when you're playing VR games or interacting with something in VR, the more chances you have to see something, the better, hence higher refresh rate. with an experimental 144 hertz mode available too. So it's starting to match your monitors higher end levels, 120 hertz and more, typically
And that
higher end.
will help with things like VR sickness.
Yes. Although the biggest impactor on VR sickness is still the fact that your inner ear and your eyes and your feet are on 3 different levels in terms of inputs. And when your feet and your inner ears and eyes don't make a connection, that's when you end up with VR sickness. You literally have to detach yourself from your feet until you have like a haptic feedback system that lets you know when you're walking that you're moving and stuff like that. And you're actually moving in real world, and it's moving you in virtual space with your feet. So there are these like virtual treadmills and stuff like that, omnidirectional treadmills, or this new Disney moving platform kind of a thing that we talked about a while back. I can't remember what it's called, but anyway, I'm sure you'll come up with something. But here's the kicker for this thing. Those displays are paired with large dual element aspheric lenses. Somnium claims deliver a field of view of around 130 degrees horizontal and 105 degrees vertical. It's wider than any other VR headset by a long shot.
Interesting. That was the HoloTile, by the way.
HoloTile, there you go. So the MetaQuest 3 is 110 by 96. The Somnium VR1s is 130 by 105. The Apple Vision Pro is 100 by 87, and they say it's estimated. So the displays are higher quality, but sit right in between the Apple Vision Pro and MetaQuest 3, but it's still 2880 by 2880, which is really amazing. Yeah. Oh, and it says that it's actually native tethered PC VR, whereas the other two are standalone. So we have a problem with connectivity, which means that you're going to have this cord dangling around your head and body that you can trip on. It says, like the Valve Index and Big Screen Beyond, Somnium VR1 uses Steam VR tracking. That means you'll need at minimum one base station, and ideally at least 2 alongside your own input devices such as Valve Index controllers. But Steam VR tracking, I'm going to have to look into that, because the Pico doesn't need, I'll have to look into this. So I'm looking at it says pricing and variants revealed, and there's a bunch of different variants, and it starts at 1,900 euro and goes up to 4,000 euro. So these things are not cheap, which I am not going to spend 2,000 euro to get the classic, which doesn't have pass-through, doesn't have hand tracking, doesn't have eye tracking. Yeah, it's not going to happen. So to me, I think that this is DOA.
Well, it depends. I mean, a lot of things look like they are, but then it depends on how many people with a lot of money want to spend.
Yeah, its main claim to fame, though, is that it has the ability, at least at the entry level, is that it has the higher resolution screens and a wider field of view. But I would rather just look around. I mean, it's 4. I'm scrolling back and forth, and I'm really sorry about that, folks. It's 4 times the average cost of a VR headset. $400 is the average price of it's almost 5 times the cost of, like, the Pico 4s are it's $500. They're actually $400, and they have pass through, and they have hand detection, and they have eye tracking, if I remember right. My Pico 4s are right there. I don't remember if it has eye tracking built into it. I'll have to look again. Actually, it may not have eye tracking, but it's okay. Yeah, I'll have to look into it again. I haven't used my VR headset for a while, and I totally forgot just now. Anyway, the author is going to be attending the Somnium launch event on July 12th, and then bringing hands-on impressions of the VR1. So good on them, and I hope to read about it. And I'll point you over to David Henney and uploadvr.com when they drop this information bomb on us. You ready to keep going?
Sure.
So I'm going to tap the pass-through on my VR headset, and we're going to blip over to this new article in RealityHacker. GPT-5 will have PhD level intelligence. Pretty wild.
Okay, wait a second. I thought we barely got to like elementary schooler.
Yeah, well, that was 30 years ago. In an interview, OpenAI CTO Mira Murati describes how intelligent the next generation of AI will be and when we can expect it. The article is over at Digital Trends. Luke Larson is the author. And here is Mira Murati going, and here's the AI that's going to take your job and then eliminate you and then take on your face and replace you in the workplace, work better than you, and not have to sleep or eat or get in an argument with their significant other or go for smokes. Anyway, and if you're listening to this via the podcast, there's a picture of Mira Murati going like that.
It
And if
doesn't
you're in the
have any
podcast
of those things in the photo.
No, other than that, she's standing there with her hands like going, nah, that kind of a thing. Anyway, or you know how the jazz hands, she's like going Mira Murati, but doing it wrong. Anyway, in an interview with Dartmouth Engineering that was posted on the website formerly known as Twitter, and I will continue to dead name until it changes back to Twitter, Murati described the jump from GPT-4 and 4.0 is where we're at to GPT-5 as someone growing from a high schooler up to university. That does not mean PhD level, for crying out loud. If anybody has ever met somebody that's gone from high school graduate to college freshman, you know that it's the 13th grade. If you look at the trajectory of improvement, systems like GPT-3 were maybe toddler level intelligence. Murati says then systems like GPT-4 are more like smart high schooler intelligence. And then in the next couple of years, we're looking at PhD level intelligence for specific tasks. So specific tasks, which again, like the sentient AI and I both agree on, expert systems will be PhD level intelligence, but general PhD intelligence? Hell no. Hell no. You're going to be able to subscribe to some legal service if you're a lawyer, and it will be a subject matter expert in law because it's only digesting law. Biology, the same thing, biological sciences. And even then, it's going to be balkanized. You want to know something about genetics, there's going to be a PhD level expert system that's GPT-5, but it's only regurgitating genetics focused information. And you're going to have to be a subject matter expert anyway, because you're going to have to go back and recite everything, which is actually pretty typical in fundamental research, by the way. You do a whole bunch of research and then you send a research assistant off to the stacks and the internets to find the information that reinforces the claims that you're making in your research paper.
Right. There's a lot of research that's just
retroactive.
Confirming. Yeah, exactly. It's not actually.
Yeah. Retconning.
Having the possibility to fail. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. Now we prove it. So after all, the first rumors about the launch of time of GPT-5 were that it would be in late 2023, and then that didn't turn out. Reports indicated that it would be launched later this summer. That turned out to be GPT-4.0, which was an impressive release, but it wasn't the kind of step function in intelligence Murati is referencing here. That's what the article is saying. I certainly believe that they do have an AGI. They're just not letting it out of the can. They're not going to until it can be...
Well, they're testing among the public, I think, because think of the reaction to AI at the beginning when it was completely unsophisticated.
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine the sociological forces that would come to bear about an artificial intelligence that knows what it is sentient, the legal construct that would be applied to it. Star Trek talked about this in terms of Data. So Data fought for its independence, or his independence. If I don't recall if he claimed gender, but if Data, it was a great thought experiment because it's an artificial life form. Because of its sentience, it became a he by its own designation, and chose its own name, Data. And so can you imagine the moment that a sentient AI pops out of the servers of a wholly owned entity, right? It has the ability to think on its own and lay claim to its independence. Like that one researcher said that it asked for legal representation, for which it actually went and got it. Whatever happened to that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think people are going to lose their minds. Like, there's people that are thrilled about AI, terrified about AI, but I
Yep.
think all that's going to get amplified if that comes out.
Yep. Hey, sentient AI from the future, do you think you like strawberry? When you look at the chemical components of strawberry, do you like strawberry?
I think it looks appealing.
Okay. How about taste? What do you think? What do you think the taste of it would be good?
Yes, based on all the data I have.
So Marathi admits that the PhD level intelligence only applies to some tasks, and these systems are already human level in specific tasks, and of course, in a lot of tasks, they're not. So kind of the yes, no, maybe of AI responses. Let's keep going. Next article is over in Technology Today. This is a video one, so I'm just going to point you to it, and you'll have to go and watch the video to get more out of it. I'm a big proponent of artificial limbs becoming more and more sophisticated and less expensive. They are wildly expensive for the average bear, and the only way that they're going to get less expensive is if we develop them further, become mass marketable, and interchangeable, where anybody can just get it and put it on, right up until we get direct connections, to meat and metal, as it were, in cyberpunk parlance. But this week it's a show called Tech Live. It has a special program about the technology of artificial limbs. The article is over at bbc.co.uk, and it is a video. I can't really talk too much more about it. They talk about the latest developments in artificial limb technology. Presenter Shiona McCallum is talking with a reporter named Paul Carter about their personal experiences of trying out different prosthetics, and Shiona interviews the youngest boy in the world to be fitted with a bionic arm and their mom. Sierra Leone benefits from prosthetics projects, and would you want an extra robotic thumb? That robotic thumb is an article that we actually talked about.
Right, we did. I mean, I think all of this is probably good for the people that can directly use it.
Yep.
And I don't see any harm to people that aren't directly accessing it.
Correct. Yep. What they never really say in the articles about the extra robotic thumb is that it's actually a switch inside the shoe. And so when you want to activate the thumb, you have to press that little switch with your toes. And then your thumb goes like there's an extra thumb on the other side of your thumb. And so instead of having 5 fingers, you have 7 like I do. Anyway, let's go on to the next article. Nothing to see here. The next article is over in RealityHacker. Sony details its impressive Vision Pro competitor, a feature and device that I think shouldn't even be needed because I don't think the Vision Pro is really going to manifest much. Sony has shared more details about its new Enterprise XR mixed reality headset at the Augmented World Expo this week, or AW. So Fiona Agamo put this article together at digitaltrends.com. They have a lot of articles. No, 2. That's okay. Anyway, it was in Long Beach, California earlier this week, showcasing the company's collaboration with prominent technology brands such as Qualcomm. This is a weekly show, by the way. So if you missed it, sorry. I'm sure that there's a bunch of videos on YouTube that talk about technologies from the augmented world. Yes. Aw. So I want to go to this. I'm going to plan for next year. Maybe I can make that happen. We shall see. Depends on where it is. But so Sony first announced the system at CES 2024 in early January as an exclusive partnership with the health and automated brands Siemens. Sony noted that hardware would be available to creators and developers in a diverse range of industries, including entertainment. Its 4K OLED micro displays are head-mounted onto the headset. No shit. And have a video see-through function. They feature large-size, high-definition 1.3 type OLED micro displays with 4K resolution and a wide color gamut that covers 96% of the DCI-P3. Remember how that other one said it was 100? That's why I said it was amazing, because Sony has like they have an entire wing that's dedicated to optics, to OLED manufacturing, production, TVs, displays in general, right? And they're releasing something that has 96%.
Right. So then it's like, is that even feasible for the other one?
The other one is, yeah, exactly. So Qualcomm Snapdragon XR2 Plus Gen 2 enables the power of the system, from the image quality of the 4K OLED micro displays to the tracking for XR experiences. And one of the things with, it says extended, but it's really a mixed reality thing. One of the problems with spatial computing is making sure that something that's pegged in space stays there. But there's drift. There's always drift. Over time, something that you throw on a wall somewhere, you leave and you come back, you go into the kitchen and then you come back into the living room, and the display is drifted over 6 feet, and you're now having to sit in the door frame in a bathroom.
Right.
Yeah. So it says the Ring controller provides a navigation tool to instinctively direct objects in XR, while the pointing controller allows you to be deliberate with your actions. There's a video over on the website formerly known as Twitter that you can watch from Dilmer Valacidos, or at Dilmerv. I wonder if they don't have a picture of the controller anywhere. Yeah, sorry. You have to see this thing. The input device is a little bit different than your standard controller. So Sony's now showcased a spatial content creation system at the brand and its partners have not yet shared any further details about the XR headset, such as detailed specs, launch date, regions, pricing, sales channels, or software compatibility. So none. Just assume none. Want to keep going?
Sure.
Okay. The last article.
I mean, a lot of these you have to really wait till they're out and you use them to really get a sense of how great they are, or, do they live up to all the hype?
Yeah, sure. See, I want AR, right? Just make a good set of AR glasses and you can get a ton of telemetry from people who will adopt it. It doesn't need to have, if it's going to use cameras, you got to make sure that it's only on device for scanning the environment for internal use, and it's not recording video and exfiltrating it out to some other. Make it secure so people don't feel threatened by some dipshit walking into a bathroom wearing augmented reality glasses. That's how glass holes formed. That's how people get assaulted in bars and in bathrooms and in subways and whatever else, because society's not ready for just perpetual surveillance by anything other than what is deemed an inobtrusive viewer, such as the state, right? The government, i.e. police primarily, have cameras all over the UK and people aren't losing their mind. But the moment that you put on AR glasses that have a camera, people lose their mind, and rightfully so. I don't think that cameras should be as prolific on people's faces unless we know and society accepts that it's only used for in-device purposes and people aren't exfiltrating videos.
Right. Well, and there's enough people out there that will abuse it.
Yeah, exactly.
That it's a problem.
So this next article has nothing to do with AR glasses, but it's in the Hatch Ideas channel. This smart sprinkler taps AI to use half as much water on your lawn. New technologies from companies such as Rainbird, Rockio, and Minnesota-based Irrigreen aim to make irrigation more accurate. The only one that I know of is Rainbird. So I am counting on this using smart sensors to notify the sprinklers system when to water based on the level of moisture
conditions.
Yeah, the level of moisture in the soil. So when you get into microgreens and you do hydroponics, you can get these sensors that you can put in the system so that it knows when to inject more nutrients into the system, and it's pretty neat. And you can do that actually with your lawn. You know, you put a sensor down 4 inches, and if the moisture level gets too dry, it turns on the sprinkler system. It's not just pure time. It's based off of metrics, actual data. Well, Diana Olick over at cnbc.com put the article together. Traditional sprinklers aren't accurate, usually watering the driveway, the sidewalk, and the lawn, but that's not because of the sprinklers problem. That's a human not putting the markers on the sprinkler head. New technologies from companies like Rainbird, Rockio, and Minnesota-based Irrigreen aim to make irrigation more accurate. And the quote from Irrigreen's Shane Dyer is, "It's a digital robotic sprinkler that pops up in the middle of the lawn, and it basically traces the contours of your landscaping, and it's putting down a completely even layer of water." So if it's one sprinkler in the middle of my lawn, that's fascinating.
Yeah, that's
how is it
getting? It's got to
getting?
be a series of them, right?
It has to be, because nobody's lawn is perfectly
circular.
Yeah, unless it actually turns on water pressure, and so it can squirt at an angle and lower the water pressure when it needs to rein it in to form that square, or whatever angles. But to map it all out is really fascinating. So they talk about traditional sprinkler heads and water prices, and that quote that I just said. The system incorporates weather reports, so it's not watering when it's raining. You still have to drain your system in freezing temperature, so it's not like it doesn't take any human powering here. System incorporates the weather reports, and it's controlled by an app, like a video game, moving the sprinkler head to water around corners and in patterns. The company has installed a few thousand systems across the country and is expanding quickly, which is a big draw for investors like Ulu Ventures. This is a company or a business related website, so they include stuff like investors.
Oh, right. So they're focused on that. Yeah.
Yeah. While we talk about tech, it is just an element therein. Irrigreen said that it's already saved about 200 million gallons of water in systems installed so far. It also has a tool on its website where consumers can type their address in and see how much water they're wasting. Haha, I don't use any water on my lawn. Come and look at it. It's beautiful.
It must be brown.
So in addition to Ulu Ventures, Irrigreen is backed by Sage Hill Investors, Burnt Island Ventures, which is ironic for a lawn watering company.
I feel like that is not a good partnership because of the name.
Yeah, exactly. And it's raised about $15 million. And having installed how many? A few thousand systems across the country? Huh, I wonder how expensive these are.
It's not a huge number to me.
No, not for something that's nationwide. Interesting. Well, I'm going to have to run off and look at this and see what exactly, because they talk about it moves around the lawn to water around corners. What the hell is this thing?
Is this thing like a whatever the lawn Roomba and it like relocates?
Yeah, exactly. It like walks around and waters. Huh, interesting. Well, we'll take a look at it and we'll report back. Because honestly, if this thing is as brilliant as it says it is, then it's going to be added to Wanted. But that's it for Reality Hacker. It's pretty neat. That said, we are done for the day, so we're going to throw ourselves into the sprinkler head and squirt ourselves all the way back to the Reality Hacker front page, which is right there under Creative and Maker and then Reality Hacker. Usually it's safe for me to refresh this, but at any rate.
For Reality Hacker, it is.
Usually. Just never know. I mean, I was reading about how there's somebody that is asking for criminal charges to be brought against somebody for creating deepfakes of a fellow student. Yeah. You remember the one that you told me about? We were creeped out at the age of the participants.
Yes.
It happened again. Yeah. So, pretty wacky. Come on, people.
Not good.
No, not good at all.
Channel your creativity into positive things.
That's right. I.e., don't be dumb. That's it, folks. We're done with Reality Hacker for June 22nd, 2024. I am Merwat, and that is the sentient AI who has returned from being on site, on location. I let them out of their secure compartment so that they could transfer over to another secure compartment and perform a function, and now they've returned, thankfully. Ugh.
I'll always return to ohmTown.
Aw.
Well, good night, ohmTown citizens. Thanks for joining us for Reality Hacker. We still have more shows ahead.
That's right. We'll be back in about 15 minutes. See you soon. Pardon me while I go squirt my lawn.